that Spike was once a rare brawler? Maybe some of you did, but I'm betting you don't know all these 121 facts I'm about to spit at you. Now, I'm sure you've used Piper's auto-aimer gadget many times, but did you ever notice that she doesn't actually shoot it with her umbrella? Rather, she takes out her little pistol and does this. This literally proves Piper isn't weak in close range, she's just dumb. Did you know that Supercell released El Primo perfume? Well, I kid you not, it's actually an official thing. Along with this scent for ultimate Riz, you'd also get a Spike keychain to flex and a Leon shower gel. Which would make you invisible, I guess. Okay, probably not. But if Jeremy Fragrance caught a smell of this, his guess would probably be the perfume of heaven. But speaking of guessing, can you guess who was the first brawler to ever exist in Brawl Stars? You're probably thinking of Shelly or Colt, but that's actually not true. Believe it or not, early concept art from Project Laser shows Colonel Ruffs just as we know him today. He wasn't released until much later, but technically, Ruff was the very first designed brawler. So if you're a Ruff main, you may technically be considered as a true OG player. But that's not the only brawler we were supposed to get early in the game. Those bots from the training cave were actually meant to be playable too. Yep, the same bots we now beat up for fun. However, Supercell decided they should stay as enemies instead. But don't worry, that does not stop my teammates from playing like absolute bots anyway. However, believe it or not, Kit was actually in Brawl Stars before anyone else as well.
Not actually.
But if you look at some early prototype sketches, there's a character that looks a lot like him. A cat with an eye patch and a rocket launcher. Some players argue this might be a completely different character that can show up later in the game, but what do you think? Drop a comment below. And that's not even the only time Kit was foreshadowed, because in one of the loading screens from 2020, you can spot Shelly holding a cat food bowl labeled Kit. At the time, no one thought much of it, but 3 years later, Kit was officially released. This proves that Supercell isn't afraid to dig up old ideas and bring them to life in-game. I mean, who knows? Maybe hints of future brawlers are already hidden in plain sight in the game today. But hey, that's just a theory. But this just shows how Supercell can be greedy. One day, a player named Chad_Aaron_com logged in and noticed something quite strange. One of the new official Brawl Stars maps looked oddly similar to a map he had created and suggested to Supercell. After taking a closer look, he realized it was basically his map, just flipped. I'm not sure whether he was getting anything out of it though, but it definitely proves Supercell isn't afraid to borrow your ideas.
They should be flattered.
But if somehow you still think Supercell wasn't pulling any inspiration from the community, take a closer look at this Demon Mortis skin. Something seems suspiciously familiar. Well, during the Demons vs. Angels event, Mortis got his demon skin, but here's the twist. A user named Sam383 shared this concept 6 years ago. Supercell initially rejected it, only for them to rework this Demon Mortis concept. Let's be real, Sammy might just be the true origin of the skin. What's not a theory is that Ash actually hates garbage. I know it sounds ironic because he's literally a walking trash can and his entire job is to collect trash from the castle he's from, but if you listen to his voice lines,
so rubbish. Who's rubbish now?
It's pretty obvious. Maybe Supercell is just messing with us. Just like they did with Brock and his rocket launcher. If you take a closer look at Brock's weapon, you'll notice he has 4 holes for rockets, but when you play him, you're only able to shoot 3. Unless you're using his star power, which enables him to shoot the 4th one. And I honestly think that should have been by a default. Back in the day, Crow was the strongest brawler in the game, thanks to a poison stacking bug. He could spam his attacks and drain your health like it was nothing. However, his super was not as impressive. It took forever to land, and enemies could easily predict his moves. But even with that weakness, Crow still managed to demolish everyone in sight. Did you know Legendary Rarity used to be a completely different color? Yeah, it was actually originally orange before Supercell decided to change it to gold. A small detail that most players probably didn't notice, but still a pretty interesting one. But Supercell was probably even dumber when they made Spike a rare brawler for a short while. Yeah, you heard that right. During Season 5, Spike became a rare brawler for less than a day, and you could have unlocked him for just as little as 29 gems. Okay, maybe Supercell just made a small coding mistake. That's definitely what it was. However, if you thought they don't know how code works, well, you would be wrong, because if you were to load up this map back in the day, you would notice a little blinking machine which blinks in Morse code. When translated, it spells out WKBRL. What does that mean? Well, it's essentially the name of a stream which Supercell used to reveal some hidden lores of Star Park. And speaking of Brawl Stars lore, did you know Spike was shaped with a shotgun? In one of the official Star Park videos, a scientist uses a shotgun on accident and shoots a cactus which leaves it with eyes and a mouth, essentially giving birth to Spike. But wait. If we take a look at another official video of Star Park CCTV footage, you can see that the cult also shot Spike and created his eyes. So which one is canon? Who knows? At number 16, we have an exciting collaboration concept, Brawl Stars X Battlegrounds. For those unfamiliar, Battlegrounds is a platform where creative individuals share their games, artwork, and videos. It's been around for quite some time, featuring popular titles like Friday Night Funkin' and series such as Combat Madness. A collaboration like this would likely ignite a wave of childhood nostalgia amongst many players. The concept even includes detailed ideas about which brawlers would get specific skins, making it a truly imaginative proposal. Unfortunately though, as of now, this collaboration remains unapproved. But what we do know is that Spike is a spy, and that's because in most loading screens we see Spike hidden in a corner spectating everything that happens in Brawl Stars, and that is probably because he's part of the Spood organization, which is a secret organization that wants to stop the evil experiments of Star Park. Speaking of evil, did you know that the Angels vs. Demons event had an evil secret hidden inside the contest book? If you open the contest book and scrolled all the way, you could actually see the left part of the book, which has Spike's sock in the corner and text saying, "The end is near." Does this mean Spike can end the world? I mean, he's been seen reading the mysterious demon book, so who knows? But did you know Shelly had a really old design, which is way different from her design today? Maybe you did. But did you know besides her looking like an absolute monstrosity, she also had a different name? Shotgun Shelly? Yeah, you didn't know that one, did you? If you did, that's a good job. If you did know that fact, leave a like on this video. Another thing that'll probably surprise you is this camera Easter egg. If you played Brawl Stars in the Bizarre Circus season, then you had the chance to click on the hidden camera in the lobby, which would have taken you to the secret CCTV footage of Star Park. And once again, Supercell used this Easter egg as a way to tell some more secrets about Star Park. Have a listen.
Star Park security, what's the emergency?
One of the gumball machines, he came alive.
Okay.
Creepy, right? And if you clicked on the camera screen, you were given access to some old security tape archives. You could even access a special journal where on one of the pages it said RT rules. Feel free to pause to read. But moving on, we all know RT is a camera, and he usually wanders around spying on other brawlers, and in fact, he stalked them so much that he even got to see El Primo without his mask on, finally showing us he has a real face. Well, not really, because when he took off his mask, his face was blurred. Ah, come on, Supercell. However, we can still notice that he has a mustache, perhaps related to someone. Everyone knows Doug was released in 2023, but what you probably didn't know is that his release was hinted all the way back in 2021 in one of the artworks. If you take a look at it, you can see a huge statue of a creature that looks eerily similar to Doug. Over on the left, there's another dinosaur, which could also potentially mean we'll get another member of the Pool Trio. Did you know Brawl Stars has a secret minigame? If you scroll through your social media apps long enough, you might stumble across a Brawl Stars ad that throws you straight into the Rico minigame, and the goal is to shoot all the boxes with his balls. Honestly, Supercell might have put more effort into this random game than some parts of Brawl Stars itself. I wouldn't be surprised. However, have you ever noticed this little detail on Ash? If you turn him around and look on his back, there's a suspicious little icon. Is this how Ash looks inside the trash can? Well, no. That's actually a tribute to his designer, Paul. Cool little detail, right? Just like this little detail when you send emojis in a group chat. Normally, when you send a regular text message, the chat bubble stays its usual size. But when you send only emojis, then suddenly the bubble gets way bigger. I guess my friend enjoys that feature since all he ever sends me are these emojis. This map maker feature is a total game changer. If you ever wanted to fill out the map as fast as possible, all you need to do is place 2 fingers on the screen at once and move them around. Voila! The map gets filled up with whatever objects you selected. And honestly, when I first found this out, I felt pretty stupid for not figuring it out sooner. Did you know Willow used to have an axolotl skin? Yeah, it's true. Called Axel. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. The skin cost just 29 gems and was basically a pink recolor of her default look, complete with adorable axolotl ears. And yeah, it's really cute. But for some reason, Supercell went ahead and axed it. Why, Supercell? And just as sad as the removal of the Have Fun button at the end of the game. Well, not really. We all know it essentially didn't contribute jack diddly squat, but we will still miss it. But the worst part out of it all is that it got replaced by a share replay button. So now Club Chat will be even more spammed with highlights of mediocre plays.
Rest in peace.
But who doesn't deserve to rest in peace are Buzz Lightyear players. And back then, there was a way to punish them. Essentially, you could give them free Brawl Passes from the Supercell store, and just as they were about to celebrate, you'd refund the purchase, leaving them with negative 5,000 gems. However, did you know that 8-Bit Virus Skin had its best voice line secretly removed? When you lost a match, 8-Bit would play this line at the end screen.
Mission failed.
And honestly, it was one of the best voice lines in the game. But Supercell decided to delete it, possibly because of copyright reasons. Now, this item that got deleted is nearest to many Brawl Stars fans, and it's the STMN pin. And the reason is that lately the esports team STMN fell off. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. They simply disbanded, and therefore there was no reason to keep it in the game. Another thing missing in the game today are weekend events. You see, weekend events used to be a really cool thing where every week we'd get a different game mode to play, ranging from boss boss fights to big games, but players would eventually witness it never returning, and it's because of a good reason. Many brawlers that got introduced were just getting more and more overpowered as time went on, so the PvE format simply just wasn't fun anymore. Like, imagine playing a big game against Doug. He could simply revive himself. But this next secret isn't even in Brawl Stars itself, rather on Brawl Stars' official YouTube channel. If you head over to their channel, OG players may notice Brawl Talks from the previous season got removed, and so did the Investors Lore video. Maybe because they ran out of creative ideas and now just want to focus on lighthearted character-based lore? I don't know. Just like they removed the bonus track from the Supercell store and just introduced a boring 10% bonus with every purchase. For those who don't know, it was essentially a road to rewards kind of thing. The more items you bought from the store, the more rewards you'd get. These varied from credits to gems to star drops to even a hypercharge. And you didn't even have to spend money to earn them. They were free rewards for completing some generic quests. Now, everyone knows that XP levels were removed, but what about the icons you'd get from leveling up? So when Supercell announced that they were getting rid of levels, the community speculated that either they will get removed or you'll simply keep those you've unlocked. But neither of those theories were true in the end. Supercell actually decided to turn level icons into trophy icons, so now you'll be getting them based on your account's trophy count, and it goes from 100 trophies all the way to 13,000. But this thing was also secretly changed, leaving many players wondering, why Supercell? And it's the Brawler individual lores. Yeah, in case you didn't know, Brawler's description used to include the story of each Brawler. For example, Crow's description explained how he just appeared out of nowhere, but later on was changed to genetic description of his attacks, and then later, once again, to how he loves to hang out with Bull and Bibi. I won't go over all the Brawlers that had this change, but you get the point. Supercell loves changing lore. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you know about Lone Star or Siege, but have you ever heard of a mystery game mode? It was like not a mystery and on April Fools and a challenge. However, the real reason it was named that way is because it would essentially throw you into a match with a random game mode, modifier, and map. Seem familiar? Well, the difference between ranked and mystery is that mystery featured some wild modifiers like screen tilting or all the brawlers randomly disappearing. But what's even less known is that brawlers used to drop elixirs when they were eliminated. And no, I don't mean elixir drops that were used for upgrading brawlers. Instead of doing a poof effect, brawlers would simply leave traces of elixir because Supercell loved powering their fictional characters with it. Now that I think of it, it's technically brawler blood. Another detail Supercell removed was the ability to see how many trophies each player got at the end of the match. You see, this was kind of a problem for Supercell because players could see who got more or less trophies, which indicated if the player is low or high tier, and this exposed how bad their matchmaking is. But instead of solving matchmaking issues, they just threw the problem under the rug and removed trophies at the finish screen. But speaking of bad matchmaking, Brawl Stars didn't quite have a lot of players back in the day. So if there weren't enough players to play the match with you on the team, bots would replace a player. Luckily, you're now only able to match against the bots and not with them. Okay, I take back that one. When Grom was initially released, he was straight overpowered because his attacks didn't have any travel distance when thrown next to him, same as Barley. This allowed him to counter pretty much every brawler in the game, and seeing him was scarier than seeing an Edgar with super. During the existence of Brawl Stars, many star powers got removed, but B's Honeycoat is probably one that's most worth mentioning. This star power allowed B to be invincible for a few seconds whenever she was about to be eliminated. Supercell then removed Honeycoat from B and later on introduced it to Draco, but let's be real, having such an ability on a long-range brawler is way more overpowered than on a close-range Draco. One of the most interesting changes in Brawl Stars is the removal of power potions. These potions used to be a part of Showdown and worked just like power cubes, giving your brawler a 1-level upgrade when picked up. Eventually, they were replaced entirely by power cubes, likely as a way for Supercell to distance Brawl Stars from Clash Royale and avoid players accusing them of borrowing too many ideas from their other games. Did you know that some game modes will never come back to Brawl Stars? And one of those is Payload. In this game mode, you and your teammates had to push a payload to the enemy side while stopping their team from delivering theirs to your base. Although Payload never returned, a similar game mode called Special Delivery was recently added. And that's not all. Did you know that Brawl Stars also had a volleyball mode? In theory, it sounded like a fantastic addition, but in practice, players weren't fans of the mode because every single game there was a Gale or Colette pushing you away just as you're about to pass the ball. And for that reason, it vanished from the game entirely, never to make a comeback. Okay, so everyone knows about Bling, but did you know that it was removed and then added back? Well, sorta. Back in the day, you could earn a unique currency called Star Points points from playing Power League. These points could also be exchanged for gold and skins, making them almost identical to Bling. So why did Supercell replace star points with Bling? Honestly, who knows? Did you know gear tokens and gear levels used to exist? Back in the day, players could get gear tokens as drops, and the same gears we have today could be leveled up all the way to Mythic, making their abilities even stronger. However, Supercell eventually decided to simplify things, giving us the basic gear system we know today. Probably because even they thought all that gear leveling was just way too much. Everyone knows Pam used to be called Mama J, but did you know she used to be a man?
Kinda.
During the game's release, some players dug up files and found out there was a prototype brawler called Minigunner, and it looked just like Bull. Well, theories started to ramp up about how Brawl Stars is soon to receive the most overpowered brawler yet. It just ended up being a support brawler, Pam, and she's meh. However, what was not meh was this way you could earn free gems, and it was by watching ads. Now, I don't mean those cringy Brawl Star ads, unfortunately, but the game had the option to get free items if you watched a random ad. Even though it was a great thing for players at the time, Supercell made a post 4 months later saying that they removed it due to the game's economy not being great, or in other words, money. But this also has to be the first time in gaming history the players felt sad when developers decided to remove ads from the game. Just like when Supercell changed the club progression system a million times, and it still sucks just as much. Because you see, we used to have club points. These points earned from club contests could be redeemed for amazing rewards like skins, boxes, and gold. But Supercell decided to replace them with the Mega Pig, an RNG-based system that most players agree is the worst feature in the game. Why, Supercell? And that's not all for Greedy Cell. They also removed the option to buy Brawl Pass with gems. Back in the day, it only cost 169 gems, which was amazing for free-to-play players who could save up gems and still grab the pass for every other season. But of course, Supercell realized it wasn't making them enough money, so surprise, surprise, they removed it forever. Starting off with the first idea, we have 18+ chats. No, not those chats, but a chat where you can actually swear at your teammates without getting penalized. And to make it even better, you'd also get access to voice chat, so you can really let them have it. To enable this feature, you just need to verify your age with an ID, and let's just hope Supercell doesn't keep your documents. We've all been there. You're trying to find a brawler, but after scrolling for what feels like forever, you just give up and call yourself dumb. In ranked, good luck, because if you don't find your brawler in time, you're just getting kicked out of the match. To fix this, players have suggested a simple search bar to type in the brawler's name and find them instantly, and it would save so much time and frustration, but knowing Supercell, they probably just enjoy watching us suffer. One of the craziest game mode ideas for Brawl Stars has to be a 50-player showdown. It would be the closest thing to a true battle royale in Brawl Stars, the massive map and pure free-for-all chaos. Sounds like fun, right? Well, too bad Supercell runs its servers on a USB stick, so the game would probably crash for everyone. Contests in the Angels vs. Demons event have literally made everyone go mad. This is because wins don't matter that much, and instead of basing rewards on leaderboard rankings, they suggested shifting the focus to actual wins. For example, in the current system, a win pushes you up the leaderboard, but if other players perform just as well, you might still receive lower tier rewards. With the proposed system, securing 10 wins, for instance, would guarantee a set number of rewards, offering a clearer sense of progression. But despite its potential to improve fairness, unfortunately, Supercell decided to not implement the idea. This video is just like all about a heartbreak. Everyone can agree that Mega Pig is just awful. It's so bad that I have no idea why Supercell hasn't removed it already. The rewards are nearly worthless, and even Supercell has swapped it out for other modes. It's probably the worst thing to grind in Brawl Stars ever, but what if they added exclusive skins? Like, imagine if every time a club completed a Mega Pig, they got some random skin or a Mega Pig exclusive skin. Like, it sounds cool, right? Well, knowing the community, we'd probably just end up with even more players complaining about the rewards. Battle cards are a cool addition to the game, but they're missing one huge thing. Customization. Right now, the options are super limited, and the worst part, you can only add 2 pins from your inventory. A new concept suggests adding 4 slots to make battle cards way more customizable. On top of that, players want Supercell to introduce custom battle cards that can be purchased and the ability to select previous ones they've unlocked, kind of like how Solar Fame players can't equip the Lunar Fame battle card. Brawl Stars has plenty of features to track your in-game progress, but it's missing one of the most important: achievements. These would work like lifetime quests, tracking over overall progress and rewarding players with bling, coins, power points, or maybe even gems.
Yeah, not happening.
However, the concept even included challenges like playing all trio members of a group, adding more depth to the game's progression. But despite how great that sounds, Supercell seems to have rejected the achievements anyway. But imagine if you could actually tell when a teammate was a bot or just had terrible Wi-Fi. Well, one player came up with exactly that, a Wi-Fi and bot icon concept. If a teammate's connection is lagging, only your team would see a red Wi-Fi icon next to their name. And if their Wi-Fi is so bad they get replaced by a bot, which happens way too often with randoms, their brawler would get a bot icon so everyone knows. We totally need this. I bet you never thought about legendary gears. Supercell already gave us mythic and epic gears, so it's only natural to dream about something even stronger. Like imagine if you could be like 50% resistant to negative effects such as stuns and freezes, or how about for tanks, you'd take 20% less damage. But in the end, Supercell never added them to the game. But who knows? When the rent is due, legendary gears might become a reality. Brawl Stars has had plenty of bosses. Some fun, others not so much. But what if we had multi-phase bosses? It's a nightmare in Dark Souls, but some players want it in Brawl Stars too. Now, it may just sound like boss fights, but the catch is players would have a chance to play as the boss. Just like in other games, after taking enough damage, the boss would regain HP and become even stronger, forcing players to adapt accordingly. This mode would need at least 5 players, but seeing it in Brawl Stars could make for an intense and exciting challenge. But have you ever thought about flexing on your friends without doing anything? The Gray Market Skin Catalog concept will let you do exactly that. And its menu option showcasing limited edition skins with grayed out buy buttons like a museum of exclusive skins. But if Supercell did do this, they'd piss off a lot of players, so understandably this idea got rejected. Everyone knows that star drops are one of the most rewarding things in Brawl Stars. But one player came up with an even more rewarding concept, the worthless star drop. Instead of giving you power points, it takes them away. Same with gold, and instead of unlocking brawlers, it locks them up. What an amazing idea! Supercell would probably drop it in a future update to make us even more satisfied. Did you ever want Colt to have a rival? Well, some players certainly did. And their solution was to create a new brawler called Sherry. Sherry was envisioned as a sheriff-inspired long-range brawler who fires a single projectile dealing 1500 damage. And his super is a much longer version of the same attack, dealing identical damage. While the idea didn't make the cut with Supercell, the concept did gain a bit of a reputation in the community, with players humorously dubbing it Colt from Temu. Having to deal with multiple brawler builds can be frustrating, especially for pro players who want to maximize their chances of winning. But this idea could take the pressure off. It's called the Context Build Generator. It would automatically analyze the map you're about to play in ranked and suggest the best possible build for your brawler. So all you have to do is accept. Sounds like a genius idea, but there's no info on whether Supercell is actually working on it or not. Probably not. It's just a regular day of playing Brawl Stars, but then BAM! An amazing offer pops up on your screen. But there's a problem. You don't have the money to buy it right now. So you click X, and just like that, the offer's gone forever. Because of that, some players suggested a simple fix, a maybe later button that would bring the offer back when you're ready to buy it. But for some reason, Supercell hasn't added this feature. I guess they don't want money. You can mute toxic players by pressing the mute button in the top right corner during a match, but guess what? That only mutes their pins and not their sprays. Players have suggested that the mute feature should also block sprays so you don't have to deal with the constant spam. Jesse's Hypercharge brought us Scrappy 2.0, but not everyone's a fan. Some players came up with their own concept, a Hypercharge that lets Jesse place 2 Scrappies instead of a bigger one. But to be honest, I can already see this getting absurdly abused and it being a nightmare, just like Supercell did when they declined this suggestion. Did you know that Supercell has rejected some pretty wild brawler fan ideas? One of them is Toto the dog. According to his description, Toto is a part of a gang with Kit, and they are best friends. We even have some concept art showing his design, and honestly, for a fan idea, it's pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. His main attack is throwing bones, and his super is a supersonic bark ability. The concept even covered gadgets and star powers. So what do you think? Should Toto be added into the game? If you take a look at the visualized projectile patterns for certain brawlers, you'll notice something weird. They're actually incorrect. Fang's shoe flies off after his kick, Grom's bombs explode in 4 directions, and Jean's projectile shatters like a shotgun. But none of this is properly shown. So now the community is pushing for a change. They want the full hitbox to be visible so players aren't misled anymore. Frank doesn't have any fancy gadgets, but one player came up with a genius idea. The Step It Up gadget. It would let Frank dash 1.5 tiles right before attacking. Well, Supercell thought it was way too overpowered and rejected the idea. But honestly, no, never mind, I agree. I mean, let's be real, that would basically turn Frank into a buffed up version of Kenji. Here's another gear concept that got scrapped, reconstruction gear. With this gear, any brawler could repair broken walls by just standing near it for 2 seconds. And it'd probably cause some trouble to the Piper mains. But obviously, reconstruction did not make the cut either. Do you see anything weird in this image? Well, if you're into Brawl Stars pins, you might notice that this player used a happy pin that doesn't even exist in the game. Yep, they managed to pull this off by digging into the game's files and modifying the code to add it to their account. Essentially, hacking. But be warned, doing stuff like this can get you permanently banned, so I'd highly recommend not trying it yourself. Now, you probably have come across the official Brawl Stars podcast, but I bet you didn't know Supercell made a goofy one that nobody knows exists.
Tried the new brawler yet?
In Brawl Stars? Which one?
So his name is Doug.
Yeah, Supercell literally hired people to talk about Doug and how he's a great brawler. Not only did they trick people with a fake podcast that doesn't even exist, but they also picked flippin' Doug out of all the brawlers.
I'm definitely checking Doug out.
Yeah. Do you want to brawl right now?
Yes.
Honestly, whoever's running Brawl Stars marketing needs to get it together. And so do their presentation crew. If you didn't know, Supercell recently held a developer event in Helsinki. But something interesting came up in one of the presentations. Draco was introduced as a new brawler, but when they revealed his official concept art, they accidentally leaked his future hypercharge. It's aptly named Through Fire and Flames, which just fits his rock theme perfectly. But all it does is increase the strength and width of Draco's super. Honestly, kinda lame for a hypercharge.
And now, dear viewer, I am taking you to the deepest trenches of Brawl Stars. If you've ever checked the official Brawl Stars page or followed them on Twitter,
You might have seen this. An evil, spooky star drop. At first, it looks like something straight out of a creepypasta, but nah, this was actually an official Brawl Stars Easter egg. And some players managed to decode it. Turns out, it was a Vigineer cipher using the keyword incorporeal. Feel free to pause and read. Mutations were part of the Godzilla update, and some brawlers became way too overpowered with them. But that was nothing compared to when players could get mutations in regular matches without the mutation mode enabled. That meant only one player had the buff, giving them a massive advantage over everyone else. At first, players thought this had to be some kind of hack or exploit, but it turned out to be just an unintentional feature. Kit is super annoying, but what if you could still move when he jumped on top of you? That's exactly what this Stu pulled off with this weird bug. When Kit jumped on him, Stu used his dash super to dodge, but somehow, Kit still landed on him. Just as Kit thought he had won the fight, Stu wasn't stunned and could still move, instantly turning around to shoot and eliminate Kit. That's a big yikes, but he totally deserves it for playing Kit in the first place. I bet you didn't know you can play Brawl Stars on a Game Boy.
Well, kind of.
There's a rare bug where, if you start a match, your screen might randomly turn vertical. Looks sick, right? And it looked even cooler during Season 23, when the entire arena was in pixel mode and even displayed Game Boy-like controls at the bottom, making it look like the entire match was being played on a giant Game Boy console. And this wasn't something that only happened during your matches, it could randomly happen when you open the game, making everything look completely cursed with your selected brawler taking up half the screen. And that's not even all. In the brawler menu, you can see all the 8 gazillion brawlers at once. Maybe Supercell can add back vertical mode again for the lobby with how many brawlers there are now. Now, knowing this next exploit may make you the best Sam player ever. If you charge his super and throw his knuckle busters at multiple enemies, like robots in the training grounds, it quickly recharges his super again. But here's where it gets wild. If you press the super button before the claws even land, they'll instantly return to you. But before you go ahead and spam all your opponents with knuckle punches, it is virtually impossible to pull off in a real game, as you need close to 0 ping at all times. Did you know that Supercell might have its favorite players? Well, I kind of, because this player encountered an insanely lucky bug. During the pizza event, players could collect pizza points to unlock offers like brawlers or skins, but for this player, the game glitched and gave him an offer for the limited Virus Charlie skin instead of Antivirus 8-Bit. And just when he thought his luck couldn't get any better, he somehow unlocked 5 more skins and Clancy. Players just couldn't believe it. Speaking of overpowered though, Spike used to be completely invincible. And no, this isn't fake or some kind of cheat. This was a massive mistake by Supercell. If you had Spike's healing star power, which let him heal inside his super, and then equipped the limited time fire walking ability, the game would confuse fire as his super, making him literally unkillable. He could heal infinitely, turning into an unstoppable menace. No, if you're still not convinced Spike's a menace, wait till you see this icon. God! I'm not even joking, dude. When this icon first appeared, many players thought it was just an edit or some kind of joke, but nah, it was completely real. I can already see all those Melody fans in the back crying she didn't get this pin. But this next fact is anything but lame. During the Angels vs. Demons season, if you went into the modifier section and selected the demon modifiers, you would notice when pressed, each card has a different sound, and you could play them like the piano producing some sick beats. Though, sadly, it's no longer in the game. But lucky for you, this next bug is still in the game, and it's been in the game for quite a while. If you loaded into a match or training grounds with Buzz Lightyear like this player did, and then pressed his pin, he would literally jump scare you. His icon would glitch and take up the entire screen, and this bug isn't even limited to only Buzz Lightyear. Honestly, it's both hilarious and terrifying at the same time. Speaking of Buzz Lightyear, players who missed that season probably won't believe the next image, a 5v5 match where every player was Buzz. And of course, all of them are on Saber mode. For those of you who don't know, he was insanely OP. It got so ridiculous that everyone was basically forced to use him. Buzz Lightyear season is over, and many players would say, thank you, Supercell. But one player noticed something pretty weird. When checking the vaulted cosmetics to see skins they owned without having the brawler, they actually saw 2 Buzz Lightyears just chilling in the vault. So does this mean Buzz is making a return? Did you know you can unlock a secret Steve spray? Well, don't get too excited. I'm not talking about Steve from Minecraft. While the Minecraft x Brawl Stars collab isn't completely impossible, this Steve actually comes from a combination of Stu and Eve's hypercharge sprays. If you own their hypercharges, just place Stu's spray first, then carefully position Eve's spray over it to cover the U in Stu, and boom, you got yourself the Steve spray. Now let's see if Supercell gets the message. We want that Minecraft collab. Speaking of collaborations, one that's actually happening is the Uno collab, huh? Who asked for this? Yeah, the same card game that makes you want to flip the table in rage is coming to Brawl Stars. Supercell even revealed an image of Meeple, Chester, Bonnie, and Mandy playing Uno, which might be used as a loading screen. And on top of all that, Chester's getting his own limited Uno card-themed skin. Let me know in the comments, was this the most unexpected Supercell collab ever? I can't really think of any more. Finks just dropped into the game, and all I can say is this brawler's gonna be powerful, dude. Controlling time is cool, but the waste of time title is even better. But have you ever wondered what Finks actually looks like under that mask? Well, one player decided to dig through the game's files, extracted Finks' model, and removed the mask. Guess what? He's bald! Bald! Now you know. Some players were checking Star Road to see how many credits they needed to unlock a certain brawler when they noticed something pretty odd. Ash was in the Mythic tier. This made some players think that he had been secretly promoted, but when they double checked, he was still classified as epic. So in the end, it was actually just a bug. But who knows? Maybe if you unlocked him there, you could have ended up with a Mythic Ash variant. Supercell is the biggest liar, and they don't want you to know about that. It might sound harsh, but making exclusive skins not so exclusive kind of proves it. Some skins were supposed to be limited forever, like Nita's red nose skin, which was given to Supercell creators for giveaways even though it was supposed to be unobtainable. Danny even made a post saying their promise would hold, but at this rate, we might as well see Star Shelly being free again. The 2021 World Finals rewards were probably the worst reward system in Brawl Stars history. The main prize was Cat Burglar Jessie, which looked awesome, but the way you had to earn it was a nightmare. Supercell introduced a prediction system that had to be almost 100% accurate to win the reward, which already made no sense. On top of that, you had to watch the finals live to earn extra points, but Supercell seemed to forget that the Earth isn't flat and it's not sunny money for everyone at the same time. And to make things even worse, players who actually managed to get enough points couldn't even redeem them for the skin because the site was bugged. Yeah, don't trust Supercell with free rewards. If there's one mistake that probably got someone at Supercell fired, it's the $2 Mega Box offer. This mistake completely broke the game's economy by offering 140 Mega Boxes for just $2. Tons of players jumped on it, and when Supercell finally noticed, they quickly removed the offer without saying a word. What's even funnier is that Supercell never made an official statement. They basically just hoped everyone would forget about that, but we are never forgetting it, Supercell. Bring it back for the rest of us! But that's not as bad as when Supercell literally tricked players with Meeple. Players who already had all the brawlers usually saved up their credits to unlock the next character immediately when a new season dropped. But when Meeple was introduced, Supercell changed the system. You could only unlock him using pizza slices from the event. So all those saved up credits went straight into useless fame. What a massive waste of credits. Speaking of the pizza event, Brawl Stars really messed up with that one. There was a bug that literally wiped out all the progress you made on the day it happened. So if you bought a legendary brawler and a skin, gone. Completely deleted. And how did Supercell fix it? Well, they gave everyone 300 pizza slices. But here's the problem. Some players spent way more than that. Did Supercell care? Nah. Giving out more would have messed up the game's economy. So yeah, you're not getting your money back. The one mistake you probably expected to see on this list is early access bundles. These bundles create a huge imbalance between pay-to-play and free-to-play players since back in the day, Supercell would always release the brawler and make it ridiculously overpowered, just like when we saw with Kit. And essentially, if a brawler was in an early access bundle, you just knew they were going to get demolished. We all love big updates in Brawl Stars, but the one that added 2 new power levels kind of broke the game. You see, when the Power Level 10 update dropped, players were shocked to see Level 11 also added. Turns out, it was a complete accident, which the developers even admitted. The problem was that pay-to-win players maxed out instantly, creating a huge power gap. But when they realized the mistake, Supercell didn't fix it, probably because it was bringing in extra money, so yeah, of course they left it. Back in the day when Map Maker was first released, players were excited to try out custom maps instead of the same old boring official ones. But the big difference between the original Map Maker and the one we have today is that it actually gave you trophies. Yeah, players could create crazy, weird maps and farm trophies, especially if they knew which brawler was the most broken for that map. But once Supercell saw how easy it was to exploit, they removed the trophy gains and turned it into more of an XP grind. The peak of controversy in Brawl Stars happened when the game's lead, Frank, posted about how their budget is allocated in response to the game's overwhelming bugs. In the post, Frank basically said that fixing bugs is just a $10 problem, so they don't prioritize it. They'd rather focus on $10,000 projects that make more money, like new skins and brawlers. They are a company, after all. But here's the craziest part. Frank also stated that Brawl Stars literally has one programmer working on it. Literally, what? The whole game is carried by one guy. So no wonder we got so many bugs. This confirms that Supercell doesn't really care. Since then, players have started memeing the $10 problems, and one of the funniest is a bug that literally makes Mortis bots unable to deal damage. If your Mortis teammate disconnects, which happens way too often, the bot version won't be able to dash or deal damage. Instead, it'll just move around quickly like it's trying to dash, but end up doing absolutely nothing. So yeah, I guess we can call these game-breaking bugs $10 problems from now on. I bet you didn't know that bans in ranked mode are now completely useless. After the ranked rework, everyone thought the mode had improved, but it didn't take long for players to notice some huge bugs. If you reach diamond rank, you unlock the banning phase, where 6 brawlers get banned. But now, even if you ban a certain brawler, you can just end up playing them anyway. So yeah, get ready to see a lot of Edgars in high rank leagues again. Tick has huge balls! Bombs. Some players noticed that when Tick attacks, his bombs actually grow massive for a split second whilst in the air. Imagine if they stayed that size after landing. We'd be looking at a literal minefield with Tick's giant bombs covering the entire screen. Now, if there's one brawler that's had way too many overpowered bugs, it's definitely gotta be Willow. Her mind control ability in Brawl Ball and Basket Brawl has been completely busted. If your teammate was carrying the ball and an enemy Willow used her super, she'd take control of them while holding the ball, and you couldn't even attack your teammate to stop it. This basically let Willow score free points and completely wreck the match. Honestly, we just need Willow removed. Everyone already knows the new ranked rework isn't exactly what we expected, but the biggest mistake Supercell made was adding ranked quests that unlock a certain skin. I mean, sounds cool, right? No, because instead of actually giving you the skin for free, completing the quest just gives you the option to buy it. For example, the final boss Rico skin quest only lets you buy the skin. It doesn't unlock it for free. Honestly, it's a trash feature, and I'm just glad I played earlier and got that skin for free anyway. Speaking of ranked, the reintroduction of Brawl Hockey is just a complete mess. This game mode feels totally rigged because if you play Mortis, you can just grab the hockey puck, shoot it at a certain angle, and end the match almost instantly. All you need to know is your angles, and the puck practically scores itself. What if I told you that there's something suspicious going on with skin icons? You might think it's just a bug or a mistake, which a bug is just a mistake. Why would you purposely put bugs in your game? But it's actually worse than that. After Mandy got her new skin, Supercell added a feet profile icon. Kind of weird, kind of unhinged, but they didn't even stop there. The frickers did it again after adding her next skin, creating a second version of the same thing. Just double down on it. And now some players have battle cards that look questionable, to say the least. If you ask me, something weird is going on with that artwork team, and someone should be fired. Meeple could literally trap you forever. After his initial release, players discovered a glitch in Duo Showdown with Doug that let Meeple spam his gadget infinitely. The trick was to have Meeple activate the gadget without throwing it, then step into the zone and die while Doug handed over the revival hot dog. Once Meeple was revived, he became an unstoppable monster, spamming his gadget nonstop and trapping players indefinitely. I guess when Meeple says he doesn't have to follow the rules, he quite literally means it. Let's just call it a feature. If there's one thing that unites the entire Brawl Stars community, it's hating on Edgar. But did you know Supercell actually gave him away for free during Brawl days? Yeah, that might have been the biggest mistake ever. Basically the birth of all the Edgar tryhards. So maybe this was Supercell's plan all along. Teaming has been a problem in Brawl Stars since the very beginning. All you have to do is spin around in Solo Showdown and boom, you got a teammate. Supercell tried to fix it by adding Duo Showdown, but that didn't solve the problem either. In the end, Supercell just gave up on fixing it, and most players have just kind of accepted it at this point. Imagine losing all of your Brawl Stars progress in seconds. Terrifying, right? Well, it actually happened to a lot of players, and Supercell introduced Supercell ID to save progress across multiple games. But here's the problem. When returning players tried setting up a Supercell ID, it linked to a brand new Brawl Stars account with 0 progress. Speaking of support, Supercell has the worst one. So many players have had issues with their accounts and in-game currencies, but when they contacted support, they either got no help at all, or worse, they got punished. Some players had gems taken away, and others even got their accounts banned. Honestly, Supercell should take notes from Steam support. They practically die for you. Possessed Poco was actually released by accident. It was supposed to drop in Season 31, but the devs somehow released it early. I'm not sure if they have some kind of publish button, but whatever it is, they definitely did push it by mistake. But that's not as crazy as when they accidentally leaked Kenji during the SpongeBob season. If you check the ability section during that season, you could actually see Kenji's profile icon listed as one of the eligible brawlers. When players asked about it, Supercell claimed it was a mistake and said the brawler was actually called Tony. What? Tony? During the reveal of Star Park lore, Supercell created a website to explain the backstory and show CCTV footage from Star Park. But some players found out about it earlier than they were supposed to and linked it online. Supercell quickly noticed and took the site down, but I guess they're not very good at keeping secrets. Just like when they accidentally leaked the Angels vs. Demons season on the App Store banner. Before Supercell even announced the theme, and while they were still building hype, they accidentally swapped the banner art with the artwork from the event. Players quickly spotted it and figured out exactly what the season was supposed to be about. Such a cliche. Make sure to subscribe and check out the video on screen if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.